When the New York Times listed 52 places to go in 2023, only one building, not a city or country, made the list: the Sydney Opera House. Not because it's the largest, not even because it's the oldest, but because it remains one of the most iconic and influential architectural marvels of the modern world. And here's the twist: it almost didn't happen. In 1956, Australia held an international design competition to build a new performing arts center in Sydney. They received 233 entries from 32 countries.
One of them was a wild, abstract set of sketches by a relatively unknown Danish architect named Untold. His design was almost thrown out until a late-arriving American judge, Eero Saarinen, famous for designing the TWA terminal at JFK, pulled it from the reject pile and declared it genius. That single moment, the eye of one visionary, changed architectural history. And it's why today, the Sydney Opera House stands where it does. To an American eye, the Opera House might resemble a fleet of sailboats, echoing Sydney's harbor lifestyle. Others see seashells, some even compare it to orange slices. But that's the brilliance. It's organic and open to interpretation. Utzon once said he wanted it to look like it had grown naturally out of the harbor. And if you've ever seen it up close, the roof isn't white. It's made of over 1 million glossy ceramic tiles, arranged in subtle chevrons to reflect sunlight without blinding visitors. It's both sculpture and structure, something few buildings ever achieve. Don't let the name fool you. This place hosts much more than opera. Each year, the Sydney Opera House holds over 1,500 performances, including rock concerts, ballet, theater, lectures, even indigenous storytelling festivals. And it welcomes more than 10 million visitors annually, nearly half the population of New York State. Artists from Beyoncé to Yo-Yo Ma have performed here. And in 2013, the house was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, joining the ranks of the Statue of Liberty and the Grand Canyon. Here's where it gets fascinating. No one knew how to actually build it when Utzon submitted the design. There was no computer software at the time to model the complex curves of the roof. It took engineers, mathematicians, and model makers over a decade to figure it out. Eventually, they discovered that each shell could be made from sections of a single sphere, a breakthrough that made mass production possible. Construction was supposed to take 4 years. It took 14, going 10 times over budget, ending at $102 million in today's dollars. But as history shows us, from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Empire State Building, sometimes the greatest landmarks demand the greatest persistence. Here's the heartbreak. Jørn Utzon never saw the completed building. In 1966, with political pressure mounting and costs spiraling, Utzon resigned from the project and returned to Denmark. The final interior was completed without him. But decades later, in a gesture of reconciliation, Australia invited Utzon back, this time as a consultant. He never returned in person, but he redesigned parts of the interior remotely. And today, one of the main foyers bears his name. His vision had finally come full circle. You might be wondering, why should this matter to someone living in Boston or Seattle or Austin? Because the Sydney Opera House isn't just Australia's pride. It's a global symbol of bold thinking. It challenges the way we see architecture. It reminds us that form doesn't have to follow function. Think of how Guggenheim Museum in New York or Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles redefined what buildings could be. Both were inspired in part by the Opera House's boldness. It proved that culture is worth investing in, and that buildings can move people, just like music and art. The Sydney Opera House began as a sketch in the mind of an outsider. It became a national icon and a global inspiration, not because it was easy, but because someone believed the world deserved something unforgettable.